Welcome back to Laughing in the Dark, the podcast where I hang out in haunted places with comedians. I'm your host, Sara Jones. It feels like it's been so long since I've had the chance to say that to you guys. 2020 has been such a wild ride, hasn't it? So brief note on season 3, it will be shorter than the first 2 seasons, and the format necessarily did have to change up a bit just because of COVID-19. So with the ban on travel due to the coronavirus pandemic, we had to really shift gears for the format of this show, considering traveling to haunted places is like kind of a big part of our deal here. For the first few episodes of this season, the lockdown had not yet happened, and I was still able to get out there and explore some awesome places. After that, I had to switch up the format just a bit. I'll tell you more once we get to those episodes. But for now, welcome back! 2020 has been bananas! I really appreciate all of your comments and emails patiently waiting for season 3 of this show. It means so much to me that you guys love our content, love what we're putting out there, and I really do love hearing from you. In our very first episode of this season, I got to explore Box Canyon in Los Angeles, California with Rebecca Rush. Rebecca Rush is an LA-based, New York-bred comedian and writer. She hosts a podcast called Comics Book Club and a monthly themed show called Vulnerability. She's been featured on Viceland and Funny or Die and has written for numerous publications, including Miami New Times, The Dirt, and Work It Health. If you want, check out our Instagram at Lit Dark Podcast for photos that go along with this episode. For now, take a walk with Rebecca and I while we explore the foothills and phantoms of Box Canyon. Yeah, we are looking at, I think, really beautiful rock formations in the middle of the hills, in the middle of nowhere.
The ground is like weirdly soft. Did you notice that?
I did. Well, it's also raining, which is pretty rare for here, I think, right?
Yeah, usually this month was a lot rainier last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it didn't rain that much in Southern California for some reason.
Sometimes in the winter. We get enough rain and then we have a really nice super bloom.
Oh, so that's good. For listeners, we were just talking about how both of us are from, well, she's from the East Coast, I'm from Michigan, but like just the landscape in California looks almost fake because we're just so not used to it, I guess.
Yeah, we're used to flatlands.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's really pretty.
Ooh.
Yeah, be careful.
I don't think the little bit of rain made the ground this soft. I feel like it was already like this.
Yeah, that's true. Not sure why.
I don't know why I'm like, why is it? Usually ground is harder than this.
Look at the car that seemed to come go help them. It's like a animal. The truck says it's perfect.
Oh, wow. They have like a whole crew. Yeah, at first I was like, oh, well, that's a strange place to park.
I know. Well, I thought they were. Yeah, I didn't even see the fence. So I thought this car was parked. When we both parked our cars, we parked it next to a car accident.
Well, I wouldn't have known where to stop. So it was very helpful.
It was,
I appreciate that.
Kind of marked a spot.
I swear to God, you were like, what happened? Are you okay? And the lady was just like, Kahlua.
She was like, it'll get you.
Right? And she did say that. I mean, it's not like, I don't see why else. I guess things happen. This is pretty though. It's so green.
We can actually sit like that's like a chair right there. If you want to sit right here.
Okay.
I can tell you a story and then we can go explore if you want.
Okay. Yeah, this is comfortable. There's even like a backrest.
Yeah, it is actually really comfortable. All right, so listeners can't see what we're looking at, so let's kind of describe where we're sitting. Earlier, I was saying these rocks, they remind me of a display at the zoo, like the lion display.
Yeah, it's got like a real Lion King vibe.
Yes, very much so, I would agree. It's a little bit of a rainy day, kind of overcast, which I guess is perfect for the vibe of a ghosts podcast.
Yeah, totally. We're at least like a mile from any house. Like we can see them in the distance.
Yeah.
But they're pretty far away. It's just
Actually, I was like scared driving here because like the road was wet and then it was so windy and like steep, like the hill coming down here.
Oh, I was just in the Hollywood Hills to go visit someone, so that was where I came from right before here. So I was like already had kind of gotten that muscle going for the day. So I was like, yeah, I got this.
On a rainy day, it's so scary though. Oh. All right. So we are in Box Canyon. It's in Southern California. Is this has to still be LA County?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, story time. So we are visiting a rocky hideaway just west of Chatsworth known as Box Canyon. It's called Box Canyon because this area actually forms a box between Chatsworth and Simi Valley. Here you can find interesting homes along with biking and walking trails. To be totally candid, you can't really tell that there's biking and walking trails here.
No, not from the street.
No, like the way that the research made it seemed like it was like a park that would be like easily marked.
With like a sign that was like, welcome.
Welcome to Box Canyon. Here you can, yeah. That's what I was picturing. So I was
bring
like,
out your litter.
Yeah, maybe it's like right around the corner and we're just
It could be. I looked up Box Canyon Park and that was a totally different address. So I was like, I'll just go to where Google says Box Canyon, and I'm glad you did the same thing.
Yeah, I assume this is the right spot. I mean, do you know where Chatsworth is?
No, but once I had a threesome in Simi Valley.
Okay, was that close to here?
Yeah, that's what you just said. It's between Chatsworth and Simi Valley. So
your Box Canyon was a little different. I had to.
That's the only time I've been out here, so this is like way more less stressful.
Okay. That was stressful?
Sometimes.
Not stress relieving? Isn't that the point?
I mean, it's stressful when you're on the way.
Okay. Yeah, kind of like gearing yourself up. Like,
I don't know who these people are.
What? You didn't know
I met them on the internet.
Oh, God. All right, this is going to be great. All right. So I actually really loved the way the LA Times described Box Canyon. They said, this is a quote, "Rosy sandstone rock formations honeycombed with caves."
Oh, interesting. Where are the caves?
Poetic. I don't know, but maybe the more we look around, the more we'll find them. Like where we're sitting is like surprisingly comfortable for just sitting on like rocks. It's like, it seems like it was like made to just be a little couch. Like it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, I could watch the movie here.
Absolutely. Yeah, like a movie in the park. Mm-hmm. You're like, I could have a threesome here. Yeah, this is like that. Like you put that idea in my head, and now I'm like, ugh. Okay. If you live in the area and want to come check it out, there are two ways to get here. One is to take the Santa Susan Pass. Wait, is that supposed to be Santa Susana? Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's supposed to be Santa Susana. Whatever. Take that pass to Box Canyon Road, or you can take Plummer Street to Lake Manor to Box Canyon. Or you can do what we do and just Google Box Canyon and then just follow that. Those who live here are drawn to the balance of seclusion, but not total isolation. As lovely as this place is, it's haunted by a chilling and fascinating history. The story of Box Canyon all begins with a rather eccentric fellow named Francis Penkovic? I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. Are you?
Penkovic?
Penkovic. Francis. Eventually,
you got
Francis,
that part right.
Yeah, I think so. Unless it's Frankus. Eventually, oh, now I'm saying it wrong. Eventually, Francis would change his name and begin referring to himself as Krishna Venta.
Okay.
Or the Voice.
That sounds very LA.
Or the Master.
Yeah, that's still on brand.
Yeah. But before that, he was a bit of a vagrant who took several odd jobs. Born in 1911 to Jewish immigrants in San Francisco, Francis spent the years of the Great Depression riding the rails and going under several aliases. He had been jailed for issuing fictitious checks, and during the Second World War, he was once arrested for writing threatening letters to President Roosevelt. He also spent a month in the California State Mental Hospital in Camarillo.
Well, that was like the least surprising thing you said about him.
Yeah, no shit, I know. Wait until you hear more about him, though.
Like, why was he mad at President Roosevelt?
I don't know. I didn't actually find any. I looked into that because I was like, can we read them?
Like, what were they? What did he have to say?
Yeah, I
be like all old timey and proper. like mad.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because it would have been what, in like, oh, I'm dumb. When was the Second World War?
The early 40s.
Yeah, okay, so it's not that old.
Started in like 39.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when his... Wow, that's not that long ago.
I guess.
Women were like already able to vote.
Barely.
Yeah, for like 20 years.
In 1937, Francis married a woman named Lucille, with whom he had 2 sons. He later divorced Lucille, joined the army for a brief stint, then met and married his second wife, Ruth, in Salt Lake City, Utah in 1946. Francis would go on to have 6 children with Ruth.
Well, that's Utah.
Yeah, Salt Lake City. Around this time, Francis started going by a new name, Krishnaventa. He claimed to be the second coming of Christ, saying he was born with the same everlasting spirit as shared with Abraham Lincoln and Mormon church founder Joseph Smith.
Those are probably like the only 2 books he had.
Yeah, I don't know how Abraham Lincoln got into that whole
He probably
mix.
had like... People didn't have a lot of books, right? So he probably had like 1 book on Abraham Lincoln and 1 book on like the Bible, the Mormon Bible. So he's like, all right, I'm just as important.
Well, and then the Mormon church, so Salt Lake City, Utah, isn't that like a huge Mormon area? So that makes sense too. Yeah, those were his books, for sure. Those are his 2 books. And he was like, these guys are all right. They're Christ-like. All right, so he actually also claimed he was born 240,000 years prior on a planet called Neophrates, and that his body had become a host to the soul of Jesus Christ. Another claim says that the soul of Jesus actually commandeered a fleet of rocket ships coming to Earth from the planet Neophrates to use Francis's body as a host.
Huh. I mean, I believe in past lives, but he's really pushing it.
Well, yeah. I feel like...
I definitely believe like we could have lived other lives on other planets, but his like whole like the narcissism of the Jesus thing.
Oh,
you know?
Totally. For sure.
Like
yeah.
he maybe had a past life in which he was a nobody. I believe that.
Yeah, and even a current life in which he was a nobody. I mean, because, all right, so I feel like when I was doing the notes, those were like 2 conflicting sources. Like one said that he claimed to have been born 240,000 years ago. Another claimed that the soul came from a planet on a rocket ship. And actually that 2 of the other passengers on that rocket ship were the souls of Adam and Eve. That they're still around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where they
were
went.
like real actual people and they're not like a parable. Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, Krishna began to dress to fit his new alter ego. He was already tall, blue-eyed, with long, dark, curly hair and a bristle brush beard. He was described as handsome, charismatic, and one person called him hawk-like, which I don't know what that means.
Like if he was born like 40 years later, we'd have like a Netflix special about him right now.
I hope we do get a Netflix special on him because it's actually a really interesting story.
Yeah, he kind of seems like a Ted Bundy-ish. Like it's like, but you're so crazy and evil, but you're attractive.
Oh yeah, attractive people get away with everything. Like it's true. Like honestly, I was even thinking there are guys who have said horrendous things to me and get away with it because I'm like, God, you're hot. Like it happens. I don't know what it is. I'm not proud of it, but it's true. Let's see, where were we? Oh, hawk-like. I don't get what that means, but it seems like a compliment.
I mean, I feel like it's not, but...
Because it's like being called snake-like is not a compliment, but hawk-like?
I feel like it means you have like a big hawk-like nose. It's like one of those like, it kind of looks like a hawk's beak, you know, like a big
curved?
Like a big curve and a hook.
See, I think of a hawk and I think of like sharp-eyed hunter.
I feel like small eyes that are close set and like a big prominent nose, but you can still be hot with those things.
Sure, you can be. It's true.
Especially charisma goes a long way.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. So he started to wear his hair and beard long, dressed in yellow robes, and walked around in dirty bare feet. Eventually, his followers, that loses it for me. I can't do bare feet. Like, not into it. Eventually, his followers would point to his appearance as infallible proof that he was, as he said, the reincarnation of Christ.
Okay, yeah, because the way he dressed, for sure.
You can't argue it.
That'll do that.
Most interestingly to me personally is his claim that he had no visible navel.
Oh, I get it, because he's an alien.
Sure. Regrettably, I failed to find any accounts of anyone challenging this claim, which seems rather easy to do.
Yeah, nobody asked his wife.
Well, and we'll even get to that.
Or any of his wives.
Well, I think he only ever had, his ex-wife and then Ruth. I think he stayed married to Ruth.
With his ex-wife would have been like ready to talk about that.
Yeah, don't you think? She would have been like, he has a fucking belly button. Like, I've seen it. It's gross. With his new look and outlandish claims, in 1948, Krishna purchased 25 acres of land in Box Canyon and started the doomsday cult known as the WFKL Fountain of the World.
Whoa, a doomsday cult.
Doomsday cult. WFKL stood for wisdom, faith, knowledge, and love. His wife Ruth came along with him and went instead by Sister Ruth. They built a monastery and several dorms to house their eventual 100-odd followers. It's raining. Is this like awful for you? Do you want to relocate or are you okay?
I'm definitely chilly, but like let's do this, and I still want to walk up that creepy path.
Cool.
So
if at any point you're just like, this sucks, I'm done.
I could handle like 20 more minutes at least of this
bullshit.
Of the rain and the chilliness.
Okay.
I have good socks on.
Perfect. If it's time, you tell me. You're the boss. Once settled, Krishna Venta began preaching about the impending Armageddon. Krishna believed a third world war between communist and in his view, godless Russia and capitalist America would coincide with a race war in the United States, eventually consuming the entire country. The plan was for him and his cult to hide here in the hills during the war. In the end, Krishna predicted Russia would prevail, at which point he and his followers would step in and take back the world, armed not with guns, but with instead the spirit of God.
I mean, I feel like there's some grains of truth in there.
Probably. Sure.
Like, how did he know?
How do you know? He's an alien. This particular quote from Krishna creeps me right the fuck out. He says, "When they go out, they will do so to extend their love to their fellow men, not their hate, and thus the world would be saved. Love, harmony, and Venta would rule."
Dude, I just saw something moving over in the bushes.
Really?
Yeah.
It's probably an animal.
It probably is, but it was just like the timing of anything that moves suddenly right now is going to seem extra spooky.
Like, is that Krishna? That's him. I see gross bare feet. In order to assure safe passage through Armageddon, members of the Fountain of the World cult were required to give Krishna all their possessions and live by his 11 tenets, which were loosely based on the 10 Commandments. The tenets were to forget the outside world, to become familiar with the inside workings of oneself, to become unified with one another spiritually, mentally, and physically, to forget self, to create a desire within oneself toward higher spiritual equality, to obtain wisdom, to search for understanding in all things, to face problems without thought of escape, to become absorbed in love toward all things, seen and unseen, and so fulfill the laws of God, to let the Spirit descend upon you, and lastly, to become a teacher, not in the world, but in the fountain, that all men who come out of the world shall find comfort in our midst.
Well, I mean, he meant well, huh?
Yeah, those are like, I'm like, yeah, all right. I don't know if he meant well, but those tenets are not so shabby.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like a twisted form of like Buddhism or like the 8 limbs of yoga, but just kind of like bent at the wrong angles.
Yeah, certainly bent. Krishna Venta would make frequent trips nationwide and abroad, spreading the word of the fountain in an effort to reach a goal of 144,000 members.
So did he take their money and use it to like travel?
Yes. He would often travel with his right-hand man, Cardinal Jean Shanafelt, who was in charge of, quote, temporal matters, unquote. Together they would frequent casinos, spending the money given to them by the followers of the cult.
Oh, wow. They weren't even like in casinos to like try to find, or they're like, oh, let's go find some sinners and convert them, but like while we're here, let's play blackjack.
I don't even think the first part was, yeah, I think they're just like, let's just gamble.
There's something is burnt right there.
Like a ritual burning, do you think?
I mean, nothing else around it is burnt unless it's like an old...
And it's like lodged between this rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Once in Las Vegas, a photo was captured of Krishnaventa gambling alongside Nick the Greek Dandalos, a notorious professional gambler and decidedly high roller at the time. This photo was taken just moments before Krishna lost $3,000 at craps.
How much was that in like 40s, 50s?
1950 probably. Yeah, I don't know.
At least like 20 times. I would say it's at least 60 grand.
At least 20 times. Really?
Yeah.
No way.
You could buy bread for 10 cents now. It's a couple dollars, $4 now.
Yeah, I get you. See where you're going with that. Yeah. The debt paid for, of course, by the foundation. However, despite his gambling problem and untold amount of donations from his followers, Krishna still refused to pay child support to his first wife, Lucille.
Ouch.
Right. This became a decade-long battle between him and his former spouse, which eventually ended in 1956 with him being taken under arrest for contempt of court. His followers picketed the court, protesting with signs that read, "Persecuted for lifelong devotion to God."
Oh, God. And, like, while he was in court, like, nobody was like, hey, sir, can you lift up your shirt?
Yeah, while we're all at it.
Let me see your belly, please.
Like, do you mind?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Sir, we have something to sort out. These picketers outside need to know the truth. Some members of the cult were bothered by how their fellow pilgrims just seemed to excuse their leader's lifestyle, rightfully so. My take on it is when some people want to see the second coming of Christ, they do. Despite gambling problems, he was rumored to be ripping through the roads, driving like a speed demon, which now that we've driven down here, the roads are like, I mean, there's literally a car accident right there.
Yeah.
Like, the roads are like curvy as fuck. Like speeding through here is no bueno.
Right, and these roads, I mean, 70 years ago, they weren't as...
Yeah, they're probably like dirt roads.
They were definitely not paved, at least like this, and it's not really that great anyway.
Right.
There's all sorts of cracks.
Yeah, so... and he also would smoke cigars and regularly condescend them. Nothing wrong with smoking cigars, but I put that in there because it just seemed like not what you would expect from this like barefooted hippie pretending to be Jesus.
Just not Christ-like.
It's like, I thought you didn't have a belly button. What are you doing?
Yeah, you don't have a belly button. Where do you put the cigar when you go potty?
Like, where do you keep it for safekeeping?
Yeah, exactly.
Between puffs? Yeah, this makes no sense. He once was quoted to acidly tell them, "I am your shepherd and you are the sheep." He would do anything to draw attention to himself and was prone to outbursts where he would threaten to leave if members did not meet his exacting standards. "When I organized this," he spat, "I wanted a heaven on earth. Why not give it your all?"
Wow.
Yeah. Doesn't sound very Christ-like to me.
No, he clearly had some anger issues.
And gambling issues.
Well, it sounds like some raging, untreated narcissism.
No shit. I mean, there are so many commonalities with all these cults. Like, they're so similar. And it's sad because it's like, it draws people in that like are looking for some kind of a belonging, and they think they found it in this commune, and they probably did to an extent, but so many of them are so easily manipulated by this raging narcissist, and it's just like, you have a belly button, sir. Stop. Like, stop. But I was wondering, like, I wonder if someone looked at, like, directly at his belly button and were like, there it is.
Would it make them blind?
Well, no. Would it blind them? But no, I wonder if he would just be like, no, it's not. That's not what that is.
That
like,
sounds
I wonder if he would, like, straight out deny it.
He's totally a gaslighter.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, you would just gaslight this, like, just to be like, no, it's not. And then I could just imagine, this is what I was thinking of, just like writing the notes. I was imagining other people in the cult being like, I don't see it. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. Like, everyone, you know what I mean? Like, Could you imagine being that one person being like, am I nuts? That's a belly button. It's funny, but like, I'm like mad for whoever in that cult was like, he's got to have one. That's how I would feel. That's like the thing that I've fixated on through this entire thing, unfortunately.
I get it.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
especially,
great,
when you look at a country like right after the second major war in which an atomic bomb was fucking dropped, like people are scared, they feel isolated, they want to feel like they're part of something, and they want to feel like they're part of something good, and we're often so willing to overlook other things when we think that we're like doing something positive.
Yeah.
And then it becomes your new normal. Like, we're so adaptable as people, and so everything that's happening inside of that cult like became their normal very quickly.
Right.
And also it's like classic abuser, like isolate, like they no longer had the means to leave.
Yeah.
They didn't have their money and their possessions. They didn't have a car and a house and a bank account anymore.
Yeah.
They gave them all to him, so they had invested everything, so it had to work.
Yeah.
Because or else they'd have to admit that they were big dum-dums.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd like have to stubbornly like force yourself to believe. I agree. In the community, the Fountain of the World were known as long-haired, barefoot hippies, in a good way. I say that with like, it came out wrong, who would sometimes help fight wildfires in the area until issues of liability came up. Because of this, they were largely looked favorably upon in the community. Followers gave up all of their material possessions and money to Krishna and dropped their surnames, often taking on entirely new names for the group. They went barefoot as a symbol of service and humility, and they dressed in robes of varying colors, each denoting their skills and or rank. For example, nurses would wear blue, kitchen workers wore brown, and students wore green robes, and so on.
Sounds like karate.
Yeah, it kind of is. Children were raised communally, but sent to local schools. The Fountain's rural neighbors often brought extra food to the group, being mindful of their mostly vegetarian diet. So you were talking earlier about like when you give up all your material possessions and like it makes it hard to leave.
Yeah.
Also, I think giving up your name and taking a new name for the group psychologically traps them there too. Like they've taken on a new identity and like woven it into being a part of this group.
Yeah,
they've
killed their old selves and their old lives, and it's like they burnt the bridge behind them.
Yeah, I think that's like, I'm glad that you said that, because I do think that that's like a perspective that's like lost on a lot of people when they hear about doomsday cults like this, that they're like, how could you be that dumb? And it's like, it's not really dumb. It's the fact that our minds are so fragile, and it's scary how pliable our minds could be, that any of us could actually find ourselves. Like, I've even found myself in a similar, less extreme situation in jobs that I shouldn't, that I'm just like, I'm putting too much of myself into this fucking job, you know?
Like, none of us know what the hell we're doing, and we all feel like we're just making it up as we go along. And I feel like ever since the internet and everything, it's harder maybe to do that, but it still happens. But somebody comes along and they're so confident. That's why we all fall for a narcissist.
Right.
Because there's like one person over here is like, wait, I know what I'm doing. And everyone's like, wait, you do?
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, here, let me show you.
And they're like, yeah, come join.
Yeah.
I will help you. And you're like, well, fuck. Like, people that are self-aware enough, we know that we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
So... And I imagine, I mean, there was 2 world wars before this guy came into power. So, like, we had a shattered America. Then we also had the Depression in between those 2 world wars.
Right.
We had a shattered America.
Mm-hmm.
And people were just, like, we're always looking for an answer, you know? And, I mean, some of those tenets sound so beautiful.
Most of them.
And
I think
it
all
feels
of them
good
did.
to, like, cast aside even, like, I mean, the first year I got sober, it felt good to not worry about my career or worry about other things and just focus on, like, this small little world.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a relief. It's so much pressure off of you.
Right. Yeah.
And, like, I think everybody wants help with childcare.
Yeah. Yeah. No shit. Yeah.
And it probably felt really, really good to be part of that, you know, and then it makes it easier to kind of overlook. He's kind of doing there's one of him and he's doing his stuff over here, and then they're all together over here, and probably most of these people are really sweet people and they really believe in all this stuff and really want to do well.
Yeah. And when I think about it, I think of like Krishna was gone so much of the time. What is that helicopter dropping? Is that like pesticides or something?
Maybe.
See, there's like, is that liquid coming out of that helicopter?
Maybe they're like, I don't know. Are they dropping pee?
Yeah, they're just peeing. It's just like gallons and gallons
emptied
of
out
pee.
your septic tank and we're gonna go drop it in Box Canyon where nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit. Like, fuck this place. All right. Yeah, what was that though? Because there's no crops over there, is there?
No.
Yeah, that was weird.
No, and like weed's legal, so like I know they used to do dumps of chemicals on like illegal weed farms and stuff.
Yeah, but so it wouldn't be that.
So yeah, that's
unless there's a bunch
they're
of like
growing heroin
or something or heroin. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Great. Anyway.
So I guess we're gonna have to hike longer.
Yeah. All right. As for rituals, marriages were permitted only on Krishna's birthday, of course.
Okay.
March 29th.
But how does he even really know if he like has a different alien birthday, right?
He's had the same birthday for 244,000 years.
Yeah, I guess you remember.
I mean, and we're strictly, so these marriages were strictly non-sexual. So I thought what was really interesting, in those 11 tenets, which also they're based loosely on the 10 Commandments, but he had to like one up them with just like one more.
Uh-huh.
But one of them said to become unified with one another spiritually, mentally, and physically.
Okay, do you think that he was fucking everyone who wanted to, and then nobody else was allowed to
But no one's allowed
fuck?
to have sex because the marriages are non-sexual. That's what I'm thinking.
So then because he wants to be the only person that they fuck.
Yeah, because he's Christ. What would Jesus do?
Right, everybody wants to bang Jesus.
Yeah, so, let's see. Okay, great. So the fountain celebrated 4 holy days, starting on Krishna's birthday, during which, just keep that in mind about the physical thing. We'll talk about it later. But anyway, so these 4 holy days, starting on Krishna's birthday, during which Christmas, Easter, and the resurrection, and each of the fountain marriages were celebrated. So it's just a 4-day block. They get all the holidays out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, during the Easter/resurrection celebration, you know about Easter, it's supposed to be like the resurrection of Christ, right? Like that whole story. Venta would be crucified each year as part of their pageant, complete with fake blood and simulated stigmata.
Oh, wow.
So just real extreme.
That's aggressive.
He did it all.
Ugh.
He got extra. On July 12th, 1949, disaster first struck the commune when a commercial airline crashed near the site that today is Mesa Drive and Lilac Lane. I think Mesa Drive was like right over there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I passed it.
Yeah, I did too. The pilot had been blinded by fog approaching Burbank Airport and clipped the side of the hill in the Santa Susanas before cartwheeling into the mountain at a raging 140 miles per hour.
Oh, wow.
36 people perished in the crash. There were 14 survivors, one of whom was an actress who was a stand-in for Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
Fun
okay.
fact. Yeah, it was Southern California's deadliest aviation accident at the time. The cult members did not hesitate to support those in the wreck and visited survivors in the hospital regularly. So these cult members were not seen as like shitty. Like, no one made fun of them. Everyone really actually appreciated them in the community. It was just kind of an interesting thing because usually cult members are just like, outcasts and...
In Southern California, it's mid-century,
who wasn't in a cult?
Well, these people are like the cult members, at least thus far, aren't creating any problems. It's just the leader. Right,
exactly. Everything would change for the cult one fateful day at the hands of 2 men, Ralph Smith Muller, 33 at the time, and Peter Dumas Kamenoff, 42. Ralph was described as rangy and raw-boned.
I don't even know what that means.
Neither do I. And Peter was described as swarthy and wild-haired. The men had joined the cult and taken the names Elzeba and Jeroham. I mean, I think Elzeba is not that bad.
Elzeba
but Jeraham
sounds like it was on the list of kitten names I was looking at yesterday, but Jeroham sounds like ham.
Yeah.
Sounds like Jericho that really likes ham.
Yeah, Jericho Ham. They believed Krishnaventa was a sexual predator, which I fully buy, and particularly that he was sleeping with their wives.
Which I'm sure he was.
Another thing I don't doubt, yeah. They also accused Venta of embezzling money and illegally practicing medicine.
I mean, I believe that.
The illegal practice of medicine, though, I'm sure he was, but like, ugh.
It's always creepy.
No brains. They noted that the commune mostly was comprised of young women, including at least one former model. They also noted that despite being married himself, Krishna often chose to bed with a random sister most nights in his personal station wagon.
I did not expect station wagon to come after personal there.
Right. However, how did none of these sisters come back and go, he totally has a belly button? I seen it.
I am just like, did he not have a bedroom suite?
In his station wagon?
Yeah. No, like outside of the station wagon, like a better place to bang than a station wagon.
Well, no, they don't believe in material possessions. They're like, hippies in the 50s.
But where are they sleeping at night? In the all station wagons?
No, they have to be sleeping in like tents. I bet you the only person with a vehicle was Krishna, because where are the rest of them going? They're probably just sleeping where we're sitting. They were probably like right here.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy is like all of this, if you picture it, was like here, In response, Krishna accused the men of being errant monks, recruiting for a breakaway sect, and even claimed that they beat their wives. The men had sought legal help from a special agent at the California...
What if they were all right?
yeah, it's just like both sides were just the worst.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people hit their wives then. So like that,
but that didn't make...
their
wives now.
True, but that didn't make... It's just so crazy because it's like, oh, but you hit your wife. Well, that doesn't make what I said about you not true.
Right. Yeah, it's like, it's not necessarily gaslighting, but what's the other word for it where you're just like... Deflecting, yeah. So these two men actually tried to find legal help. They went to a special agent at the California Department of Justice, but their efforts had been unsuccessful. The very next day would not soon be forgotten in Box Canyon. On December 9th, 1958, Ralph Smith Muller and Peter Dumas Kamenoff recorded a bizarre tape which noted their many grievances with Krishna and the commune and outlined their plans. They headed into the main building of the compound, strapped with 20 sticks of dynamite, and detonated themselves in a suicide bombing which killed 10 people altogether.
Oh, wow.
Including Venta and 7 of his followers.
Wow.
The explosion was heard more than 20 miles away.
Holy shit.
The shockwave even blew a woman out of bed 1 mile away.
That's insane.
The entire commune erupted into flames. When firefighters and police arrived at the scene, right here, they described bits of human flesh scattered around and a child's nightgown hanging eerily from a tall branch.
Oof.
The coroner's office would report 10 deaths caused by extreme mutilation, including Krishnaventa and Cardinal Jean, his right-hand man, when they would go gambling.
So they didn't die from like smoke inhalation or burning? They died from like being mutilated?
Well, blowing up.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
The youngest victims were 2 children sleeping nearby in the children's dormitories, which sucks.
Okay, so they did have a dormitory.
For kids. Yeah, there's like women's, men's, and children's dormitories. Oh yeah, I guess that's right for the sleeping, yeah. In the wake of the explosion, there were rumors that Krishna had cheated death. However, his dental plate and a piece of his jawbone were later identified. The FBI also found a part of a hand and a single thumb belonging to one of the killers.
Ooh.
The survivors buried Krishna's remains in a potter's grave in North Hollywood's Valhalla Cemetery, which is awesome. But why was he buried in like an awesome Viking cemetery? Like, I don't know. I just hate this guy so much. And it's like, I know they respect him, but you're just like, ugh. They should have just left him scattered about. But I'm sure pieces of him still were scattered around here.
Oof. Yeah, they didn't get it all.
No way. How would they?
Can't.
After their leader died, many members stuck around. A few went on to die in Jonestown in 1978.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. One member, Dorothy Martin, known as Sister Thedra, moved to Chicago and became the guru for the Seekers, a similar UFO doomsday cult. So she left and made her own, she was her own Krishna.
That makes sense.
In the late 60s, a wandering vagabond stayed with the cult for some time. He was passing through on his way to nearby Span Ranch. This transient envisioned his own version of Armageddon, also a race war and a haven in the desert, and his own eventual triumphant rule. His war, which would one day terrorize Los Angeles, was called Helter Skelter.
Oh, wow.
The transient would turn out to be none other than Charles Manson.
Holy shit, I knew Charles Manson was coming. It just sounded too Manson-y.
Uh-huh. Eventually the cult disbanded in the 80s. But yeah, so Charles Manson slept right here for a few nights before he went on to Span Ranch.
Okay.
A last gruesome tidbit I have on this canyon. In 1974, a group of American Indian movement activists were charged for the murder of a cab driver. They were accused of murdering the man and stuffing his body down a drain pipe. They were later acquitted for the crime. Former Sheriff Department's Braden McKinley of the Ventura County District Attorney's Office says, "I'll always remember Box Canyon as a place where I was lowered down, head first, into the well to retrieve the body."
Oof.
With all the deaths in Box Canyon and its bizarre history, it's no wonder the canyon is said to be haunted. It's believed to be haunted by deceased cult members. Many visitors to Box Canyon report seeing phantom figures carrying bags of water in the hills. There is something, that's something that members of the Fountain of the World cults were known to do when they populated the area. Many others describe a creepy, eerie feeling when they visit. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, this canyon is certainly haunted by a sordid and sinister past.
Wow.
And that's
Juicy,
what I
look
got.
at that that dark clearing in that bush over there. It looks all creepy.
That little cave.
Yeah, you see that little black hole? It's like somebody could be like, oh, something just touched my head.
Wanna go check it out? That's all for notes, so we can just chill. Sorry it's so cold. I didn't know the one day it rains is the day we have scheduled to come out here.
That's all right. At least we did it.
We did it.
We're doing it.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I mean,
that is
I don't know,
cool.
awful.
No, I like learning about stuff
Cults.
like that.
Me too.
Especially around where I live. This is
right.
a 40-minute drive.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing I think about doing this show is I probably spent 4 days writing this episode, just at work, when I'm in between jobs. And, okay, hang on, believe in me. But then to actually come visit the place and be like, that was right here. That's why I almost reminded you while you're listening to the story, looking around being like, that was right here that happened.
Yeah, and people clearly come drink here.
Oh, yeah.
There's broken bottles and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Box Canyon, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is it. And actually on the Instagram, I'll probably post pictures of Krishna and some of the cult members and stuff for, listeners to come check out.
That's fun. I definitely want to see what he looks like.
Oh yeah, you got to Google it when you get home.
Yeah, now that I'm allowed to.
Right, now that you're allowed to. I forgot that, so I make you probably noticed, but I send all the comics a template of this is your location. Please don't look it up. You'll learn the story when we get there. You don't have any homework. Because I don't mind it sometimes, but I fucking hate going on a podcast and they're like, hey, research some of these things. And you're like, no.
Yeah. Or they just expect you to know something and you're like, but I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there with 4 other people who know about that.
Well, even if they're it's fine. I'll do it if it's a fun thing that I have time for. But sometimes if it's we're going to be talking about our favorite whatever, so look up a few, you're just like, oh, shit.
Look at that weird pile of rocks.
Yeah.
That's not a natural pile of rocks. I mean, it's a pile of natural rocks, but somebody piled it.
Unnaturally.
Exactly.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually cement.
Oh, yeah, so it's not even natural rock.
No, this is all fake. These are poser rocks. There's shrapnel in here too.
Yeah, and there's a piece of, that's a piece of...
Wait, is something buried under here?
Cement. I mean, probably because it's...
Like, look, there's something definitely buried under here. Because look, there's like stuff sticking out.
Yeah, like
that
car
could
parts.
be a body.
I mean, it could be because like who wants to do the work to move all that?
Right. I'm not, because if it is a body, there's no way I want to be around it.
I mean,
implicated.
Everything just looks like heavy. There's just a lot of, I think these are all car parts. And then this is like a piece of someone's house.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, this has been here for a long time because there's stuff growing out of it. Mm-hmm. But it's
And also
body-sized.
this is like a mound where like the ground was, grass is growing out of it now, but there's a whole bunch of shit in there. Like weird. Like that's all grown, but this is actually not a plant. Right here, that's all wire.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird.
That's an odd...
Maybe this is a spaceship.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
It's a crashed spaceship.
This has got to be Adam. Where's Eve?
It does feel real. It doesn't, when
There's
we were
another
sitting
mound
up there, it
over
didn't
there.
feel creepy, but down here feels fucking creepy. I
Well,
wonder
I
if
think-
these are part of their old building, like they had dormitories.
Shit.
Right, because it was, I mean, we're talking
Maybe.
about 70 years ago. Concrete's still gonna be here.
Right? Look at these like super old cans.
Yeah,
too.
that's like what cans we used to look like. I mean, that's also like the kind of size can to like feed a lot of people.
Right?
Not super big, but...
That's, you're not wrong.
Oh man, what's in here?
That is the chair of like a van or something. I'm taking a picture of that.
That's super creepy.
That's
in
way
there.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's check it out. I love it when, like, I did not expect this episode to be very scary. I love it when it is. You know?
When we were sitting on the rocks, like it didn't feel super creepy, but over here feels super creepy.
Yeah. It always kind of works out like that. Like sometimes I'll do one where I'm like, whatever. And it's just horrifying. And other ones that I think are going to be horrifying are just not. You can just never plan for it. Like this is like an old top of a garbage can, you think?
Yeah. And then there's more cans and just more, I mean, these look like foundation, like the foundation of a home, but there's also random pieces of asphalt thrown in. Like this one has more asphalt.
Asphalt?
Asphalt, like pieces
Oh,
of
the
the
black
road.
pieces?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm like caught up on this, this like bus seat next to the tree. That's cool.
There's a mattress, there's a couple of mattresses over here,
Oh shit.
but like they're so old that everything but the springs disintegrated. That's a pretty shot from here.
Wait, what's your Instagram? I'll tag you in this
Rebecca
post.
Rush 639. Ugh, remember people used to sleep on mattresses with springs.
Do you have one of those new trendy, like, we send it to you mattresses?
Totally.
Because I do too.
I've had a few of them already. The world has changed. I'm here for it.
That is crazy because that has to be from the commune.
I mean,
Right?
it's grown into the ground.
And
Like,
it's all rusted and old. Like, it's gotta be.
yeah, and even the kind of springs, these are like really old. Like we didn't grow up even having beds with
No.
these kinds of springs in them.
No.
And like this is a part of the earth now. It's been here so long that it is embedded.
like, even
you can't
taking
pull it
a
up.
picture of it, it just looks like the ground. Like, you can't even... Yeah, so to really...
Even if you get it to the corner and try to like, it's in there.
It's in the ground. Yeah. So to like conceptualize that, there's another one right there.
Yep.
These people that we're talking about, this could have been in the children's dormitory or in like the men's dormitory, you know, while it was blown up. It could have been burning right here.
Yeah, like this, I mean, brick chimney, that could have been like the kitchen.
Sure.
These might not be from a car. These could be like foundational, like the things that support.
Well, this definitely looks...
That for sure
burnt
is.
at the top, too. But that looks newer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it doesn't belong with the rest of it.
Yeah.
Which is odd on its own.
It is odd. Yeah.
It's weird because like at this point there's all these viney plants, but you're never sure as you walk what's going to be a vine and what's going to be wire.
I know.
That's like embedded into the ground in some weird way.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a path over there, but almost looks like there's one there, but that one looks
treacherous. I'll follow you.
Legit.
Yeah.
This is the one I noticed when we first got here.
Yeah.
And also, like, when did that fence get put in and for what? What are you fencing in? What are you fencing out?
Well, maybe there's like someone owns that part of the land. They must be growing something over there for that plane to be dropping stuff on it. Or, helicopter.
Yeah, but like when you pee on the plane, where does that pee go? Do you think
Right
that
there.
helicopter
It
just
goes to
emptied it all
Box
out and then
every
dumped it
plane
there?
in the world.
Because we are near Burbank Airport, right?
Yeah. We're very near Burbank. It's right next to Planet Fitness, actually, where I work out.
Wait, did we not? Where is
Is
the?
it not a trail?
I swear to God, I saw a path. Like, but where is it? Oh, it's over there. Oh shit. We can't get there from here.
Yeah, we should probably come around this way. That was burnt too.
Yeah, I mean, there was fires. I guess those things were burnt long enough. The fires, there's been so many fires. Like, one of them could have just, everything else grew back.
Yeah,
But
and there's a ton of these like little holes. Is that from snakes, do you think, or from...
Gophers? Do they have gophers out here?
Not that, but they're too little for gophers. I think they're snakes.
Okay.
They'd have to be, right?
Girl,
Here.
you know more about this than me. Because I'm like, I don't even know how big a gopher is.
Oh, you didn't do your research for the show? You're like, how big is a gopher?
How big is a gopher?
Like, you're supposed to know this shit.
Oh yeah, it's really pretty up here.
Oh, fuck.
And
It's
the view is
gorgeous
yeah.
from like the higher up we go. I'm just going fast because it's wet and I don't want to like slip. I'm taking a picture up here because it's pretty.
Yeah. Watch out for the animal turds.
I know, they're everywhere.
Yeah, there's like piles in the middle of the... Yeah, why don't... It's like, come on, man. Why? There's like a path that's like a foot wide. And you're like, oh yeah, let me shit every 7 to 10 feet right in the middle of that path.
Just inconsiderate.
Well, it's like we get it. You don't want us to be here. Fine.
Trust us, we know.
Huh. It is interesting when you think about how expensive land is out here, that there's so much space and it's no national park. It's not owned.
Right.
I don't know who owns this land, but it's just here and nobody's built houses on all this.
Oh no, right?
It's like open. These are all good house plots. I mean, look how the houses are in the Hollywood Hills, just shoved into the side of a mountain.
Right. And these houses over here were pretty nice, like on the way down here.
Yeah, but they're all pretty far away.
Yeah.
There's just like empty.
Well, it seems like they want to preserve this path because this is clearly used for walking at least.
Except for whoever keeps shitting on it.
Well, but it's cool. Like, I like it up here. So when I was doing my research for this place, I didn't include it because I didn't think it was important, but...
Oh man, doesn't that look like a cat, like a mountain lion sitting looking at you? I think it's a piece of wood.
Holy shit, it does.
Right?
Yeah. It's not really a cat, right?
I don't think so. I feel like it would have moved its head.
It did
Or, I
move
don't
its
know.
head. It did move its head. I think
oh my
it's a
God.
coyote. I think it's a coyote. It's okay.
It's not gonna attack us, right?
No, but we should probably
I'm
not.
so glad I
like-
didn't bring my dog. He's like 7 pounds. Oh my God, that's a real alive thing. It's just sitting there like surveying the land.
Yeah, maybe we should go back.
Yeah, that's what's shitting on the path. He's like, I heard you talk about me.
I was like, I heard you talking shit
Oh wow.
about my shit.
That is a real live thing. It's not scared of us at all, which I don't like.
Yeah.
Huh. Bye.
Bye. That's a coyote, I think.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're out in the canyons.
Right. Not the first time I've seen a coyote doing an episode of the show, actually.
Really? Is that
Yeah.
like your spirit totem?
Oh my God,
the show?
maybe.
Look up like Native American animal magic.
What do coyotes mean?
Yeah, it means you
Maybe.
live in Southern California.
Well, no, the last coyotes I saw were in an episode in Chicago in a cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was
stand
this last
corrected.
summer. Yeah. And we were just like, oh. I think my reaction was like, oh my God, that's awesome. And everyone was like, no, it's not. Like, be quiet. And I was like, great. Yeah, you never account for the wildlife. You're like, nature. And then you're like, oh yeah, it wants to eat me. God, that was actually really cool though. Seeing its head move.
It felt like it was like we climbed all the way up there for something.
I know. Well, now that we're a little further down and I don't want to like freak you out, but are we sure that was a coyote?
No.
Okay, because could it have maybe been like a
It had a really big
mountain
head.
lion or something? Yeah.
I
Not a
don't know
mountain
what it
lion.
was. It was definitely moving its head and had big ears, but like
It was a large cat.
it had a very big head
Yeah, so shit.
and very big ears.
So listeners, please look for our body in Box Canyon.
That's what I was like, is that thing gonna come after us? Because it was just not even remotely nervous.
I
It, like saw
have
us
a
and it was
cat.
like, hey, what's up?
That's why I was like, let's move, because I have a cat, and before they pounce, they are just surveying
Staring at you for a minute. Yeah,
the situation.
That's
So I was like, let's go. Yeah, but it might have been, when it turned its head, it had kind of like a narrow muzzle. So that's why I was like, maybe it was a coyote,
true. Yeah.
you know? Either way, no, it had to be a coyote. It had to be. This is where a coyote would be.
Yeah, I don't think mountain lions have ears that big.
Right. Yeah. That was a coyote, but it was a fucking big one.
Yeah, that was I feel like I've only seen ones that were like surprisingly smaller than what you would expect, and that one was definitely
Right. Yeah, because coyotes
bigger.
are usually, they're like big foxes. Like they're just slender dogs.
Yeah.
But that was a big one. And I didn't want to test it. Ooh, this is
No.
cool though.
It feels like a weird sensation, like there's something around my ankle and there isn't.
Well, that's definitely ghosts.
It's weird, right?
I don't know.
Feels like I'm
Yeah.
wearing like a ball and chain, but I'm not. But just the shackle. All right, so those are coyote poops.
Possibly.
The fuck is that?
I don't know. The screech. That looks like an old, like, rusted fence.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that's what I saw from the road.
Oh,
So
yeah,
like there's
over there,
clearly
too.
gotta be something here. Oh, with that one. I would not want to be here tripping.
Right?
Mm-mm.
Very, did you see that one movie that came out last summer?
What was that?
What was that? Wait, what was that though?
I don't know. It didn't. It
Was
sounded
it someone
like
talking on a microphone? Like it was like a loud, like a,
it sounded like muffled though at the same time.
yeah.
Like it sounded like somebody trying to scream through like a hand over their mouth.
I was thinking of it more of like, what is it? Like when, like protesters speaking to those big like microphone things. That's what I was hearing.
All right, now everything is
Everything's
freaking
just
out.
creeping out. Oh, that's people on the road. Oh, never mind. I thought I saw a rainbow. This is pretty though.
It is pretty. That was interesting. I had no idea about that man, and I just like
The fountain of the world.
or that
cult.
like I bet Charles Manson got some of his ideas
No
from
shit.
them.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it.
That's interesting.
'Cause-
It's like some Forrest Gump shit, you know, just like passing through.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so people have thought like he may have been inspired by the Fountain of the World.
Yeah, I'm sure. He wasn't, I mean, oh my God, what is that thing?
What?
That looks like a weird cat in the mountains. And now I'm just going to think everything. I'm like, well, it obviously is an animal every time I think
To the
of.
right of the bush up there?
On the left, there's like a white, really white
I see the
thing.
pole sticking up.
To the left.
I don't see the cat, I guess. Oh, right there.
Yeah.
It's really funny that we were like, this looks like the lion enclosure at the zoo. And we're like, oh yeah, this is a natural habitat for other animals. Now that I think about
It's
it.
so easy to get so disconnected from nature. It's
For
nice
sure.
to be out in nature, even if it's haunted.
Sure.
Like, what isn't haunted, really?
Right. I'm haunted.
There you go.
Pretty. Well, that's Box Canyon. How do you feel?
I feel good.
Closer to God? Do you feel like the spirit of Jesus and Adam and Eve might have commandeered into your host body? No?
I feel like a little creeped out.
I'm like, oh, that's just me then?
Excited for dinner, you know, the usual.
Sure. Yeah. I hope you had fun exploring the culty creepiness of Box Canyon with Rebecca and I. Be sure to find Rebecca on social media with the handle @RebeccaRush639 and listen to her podcast, Comics Book Club. While you're at it, check us out on social media too. You can find us on Instagram with the handle Lit Dark Podcast. That's LITDARK Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook and YouTube. Drop us a comment and say hi. We love hearing from you. Special thanks for this episode goes to my producer, Randall Lawrence in Cranival Studios, my graphic designer, Jonathan Cooper in Heck Yeah Studios, Rebecca for being such a fun guest, and of course, as always, all of you for listening. I'll see you next time right here on Laughing in the Dark.
Sources used for episode 1 of Laughing in the Dark include Atlas Obscura, HauntedPlaces.org, TOAcorn.com, the LA Times, Patch.com, LAist, and the LA Weekly.
Laughing in the Dark is brought to you in part by Heck Yeah Studio. Heck Yeah Studio is a creative effort working with people to create meaningful things. At Heck Yeah Studio, they work with clients to turn their ideas or existing brands into real or better versions. Heck Yeah Studio is the place to go for custom illustration for a full range of branding services, like killer logos, great colors and typography, and fun illustrations for pins, signs, prints, shirts, vehicles, posters, or anything you can imagine. At Heck Yeah Studio, they work with love. Their dream client is someone who is passionate about what they do. At Laughing in the Dark, Heck Yeah Studio has designed our logo, all of our merch, and any posters or stickers that we have. I am so proud and lucky to work with such an awesome company, and I could not recommend them higher.